KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson and the Adayitano program. Harley-Davidson of Guam. Visit our new showroom now located on Route 8 in Mighty. IP&E Fueling Excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dededo. Always open, always local.
Ahead on Primetime, the very latest on recovery efforts in the CNMI, and the search is ongoing for a Guam kingfisher that has flown the coop. Plus, 200 war claims have been approved so far. Chris Barnett reports on what this means for our island's Manamku. Hafide and good evening.
The heartbreaking news to the north unfortunately keeps on coming. Overnight, we learned that a Saipan woman died in a building collapse during Super Typhoon Yutu.
Saipan and Tinian no doubt in need of some major relief and recovery, and our Guam community is coming together to help our brothers and sisters in the CNMI devastated from the storm. Super Typhoon Yutu is long gone, but the devastation for many who called the Marianas home remains.
It was hard.
Dino Palacios is from Chalan Kanoa in Saipan and now working at DYA on Guam.
I'm just glad that nobody got hurt in the family. Lots of damages, destruction. That's why I guess we're out here trying our best to get support from our brothers and sisters here in Guam.
Palacios joined the dozens of the public safety officials at major intersections today, spotted in this CNMI shirt and holding a boot to collect donations.
This is just one of the few things that we can do to help them get over this hurdle. We've gone through it, so we know what they're going through. It's devastating. The resources are not available.
From a boot drive Friday afternoon to supplies arriving at the Guam airport on this heavy cargo aircraft from Kuala Lumpur, it's heading to Saipan Saturday morning. Assistance is coming from multiple places. Village mayors are also stepping up. They are accepting donations at each of their respective offices. The Zuda Foundation, along with the Bank of Guam, are partnering to airlift medical supplies to the CNMI, a show of unity for our brothers and sisters to the north who lost everything, including one life. A 44-year-old who confirmed to have died after she sought shelter in an abandoned building which collapsed during the storm. Additionally, almost 800 power poles were either down or are leaning, and there's no word yet on power and water restoration. There are no flight operations at the Saipan International Airport due to significant damage, and no movement yet in or out of the Saipan port. All government agencies, schools, and colleges are closed until further notice.
Just take it one day at a time. Just know that we are here trying our best to rally up support and materials to send up there for Saipan and Tinian. Hang in there, and we will get through this all the way together.
U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary has declared a public health emergency in the CNMI. This gives Medicare and Medicaid beneficiaries, healthcare providers, and suppliers greater flexibility in meeting emergency health needs in the CNMI. Additionally, before the storm, 50 medical and public health personnel, along with medical supplies and equipment, were positioned in Guam ready to be deployed. Additional personnel are on alert from the National Disaster Medical System and the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps. The declaration follows President Trump's declaration of an emergency up north.
The man accused in killing pets in a Chigo neighborhood has been indicted by a Superior Court grand jury. Though he was initially charged for killing a dog and cat, Gerald Wayne Cruz II now faces an additional 3 counts of animal cruelty as a third-degree felony. That's in addition to a charge of unsworn falsification as a misdemeanor. As reported, Pugwa the dog was found shot to death on private property. He was just one of a handful of pets shot along the same stretch of street in the past few months.
Well, Chris, he had an active warrant out for his arrest when police apparently caught him with drugs. Malcolm Chaco is charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver and a special allegation of major drug crime committed while on pretrial release for a major drug crime. Court documents state the officer pulled him over after the suspect apparently opted not to stop. It was then that the officer learned the suspect had an active warrant for a 2017 drug case. Police searched the car and found a scale, several small baggies, and a straw containing the drug ice before taking him into custody.
She'd only been at the school for 4 months, but within that time frame, she's accused of stealing close to $20,000 Former St. Anthony Catholic School Finance Officer 32-year-old Tiffany Napati Sablan is charged with theft as a second-degree felony. The money was discovered missing after an audit was conducted by the Archdiocese. Sablan initially denied the allegations, but later said she may have made a mistake when making entries into the Archdiocese finance system. Other audits show an additional $7,500 was also unaccounted for.
If you were or know someone who was duped in the Believe, Achieve, Motivate or BAM scam, the AG's office is asking you to give them a call. Earlier this month, GW High School teacher Andrea Cruz was charged with felonies for operating the fake homeschool and credit recovery program. About 300 students were duped into paying $300 thinking they were getting a legit diploma. Call the AG's prosecution division. The number is 475-3406, extension 2625 if you were a victim.
A man wanted for a string of robberies in Las Vegas was arrested on Guam and will appear in the District Court of Guam on a petition for his removal to Nevada. According to court documents, Jomo Young was caught on surveillance video robbing a total of $16,000 from 3 separate banks in June. Young will be escorted by the U.S. Marshals back to Nevada, where he faces federal charges.
Well, the hunt is on to get a Micronesian kingfisher back to its home safely.
It apparently got away as the storm was passing our area. Lacey Martinez has the story.
An endangered Micronesian kingfisher has flown the Department of Agriculture's coop. Suzanne Medina, a wildlife biologist, helps handle the birds, which went missing on Wednesday.
It was just the mix-up of the morning, the typhoon. We had 10 birds to put back out, 10 seahawk, and we also had 20 cocoa that we were bringing back out as well too. So it was just an accident.
Of the 140 Micronesian kingfishers left in existence, a mere 10 live here in agriculture's breeding program. These birds are only found on Guam.
Will we get him back? We're not quite sure. We don't have a lot of experience with this Cape kingfishers. This is the second time that we've had an escapee. The first time was over 10 years ago, and we caught him pretty immediately.
The department set up nets and even used a decoy, a stuffed animal made with the recording of the bird's call.
In that first instance, we had the male flying around, showing off, singing as loud as he can, calling, and in this instance, it was quiet. It was still super windy. The birds were just coming out of their being in total darkness for 24 hours. So we're kind of a little concerned that we may not get him. We haven't seen him in about 24 hours. As much as he's a bright orange bird with turquoise wings, it's actually difficult to see. So we're really trying to keep our ears out for him. Unfortunately, we haven't heard him.
Yet right in the middle of our interview, there was a cry.
Okay, see, now that sounds far away. Doesn't that sound far away?
It was the missing bird.
What my game plan is going to be, we're going to put some food out over there. I will let him be. We've got the nets set up. We'll maybe take one of the nets over there as well too. We'll see if we can get him to come in, and we'll let everybody know. As I said, this is new for us as well too. This is the second time a seahawk has ever escaped, so we're learning as we go along as well.
As of news time, the kingfisher hadn't been caught. But if you see or hear the bird, you're urged to call 735-0281, 735-3998, or message Suzanne Medina on Facebook. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Lacey Martinez.
Shout outs to our cameraman Marcus for catching that footage.
Yeah, hopefully they can catch that bird soon. Give him a call again, like Lacey was mentioning in that story.
Stick around for more news here on Primetime.
You're watching KUAM.
Cheers to 80 years. It's our 80th anniversary and the gifts are on us. 80 gift certificates, 8 shopping sprees, 8 staycations, and 1 round trip flyaway for 2 to Manila. So how do you enter? Calvo's Insurance personal home and auto customers are automatically entered. Non-Calvo's customers may enter by receiving a qualified quote. It's our way of saying thank you for trusting us for the past 80 years. For more details, visit calvos.com/giveaway or call 472-6816. Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years.
I'm Ray Tenorio, and I approve this message. The Calvo-Tenorio administration achieved a lot for Guam. The Tenorio administration will continue the progress and accomplish even more for our people. Tax refunds are now paid in months. Tony and I will get them paid in weeks. Calvo-Tenorio repaired bridges like Bariso and roads like Hamburger and Machechi after decades of need. TA will make sure all roadways will be fixed and made safe. We built GMH's intensive care unit and expanded the emergency room. Tenorio Atto will get our hospital a dedicated funding source and continue modernizing. Our law enforcement agencies seized over 100 million in illegal drugs. Tony and I will continue fighting the distribution of and the demand for drugs. Tenorio Atto will invest in your children through education and investment in our island's future. I'm Ray Tenorio and I'm running for governor, and I humbly ask for your vote.
I didn't plan to be a single mom. No one does. But here I am, mid-30s, divorced with 3 kids, just trying to make things work. With the rising cost of living on Guam, it gets harder for working families like mine to get by. I've heard some politicians say that the economy is good, but rent is higher, health insurance is too expensive, and our incomes have stayed the same. It's clear that the change they are talking about hasn't been for us, and we deserve better. I'm just so tired of all the empty promises. It's time to fight for a Guam that working families can afford. That's why I'm voting for Lulian Guerrero. Lu is a successful businesswoman who doesn't just talk about creating jobs. She doesn't just talk about housing, she's made it possible for people just like me to buy their first home. So when she says she's going to work to make Guam better, I believe her and I trust her. I'm voting for Lu, and I ask all of you who are tired of the way things have been to vote for her too.
I'm Lulian Guerrero and I approve this ad.
Spider-Man isn't the only hero in town. There's Pizza Man with Cheesy Bites Pizza. He has superhuman strength. He has that crowd-pleasing Cheesy Bites Pizza and his 28 poppable cheese-filled bites. No one out-pizzas the Hut. See Spider-Man Homecoming in theaters July 7th.
Hafaday Guam, this is Telo Taidagui and I'm running to be your senator. We have an opportunity again to turn good ideas into public policy, prioritizing road repairs, raising the standard for a cleaner environment, and funding new village facilities and programs. As a small business owner and public servant, I bring the experience and leadership you are looking for. I'm Telo Taidagui. I approve this message and humbly ask for your vote. Si Jus Masi, Maraming Salamat po. Thank you, Guam.
Hafaday and welcome back. While the feds have approved roughly 200 of the over 2,000 war claims applications, there's no telling when war reparations checks will be in the mail.
Chris Barnett reports.
The long journey getting Guam's World War II survivors war reparations has inched another step towards fruition. The Foreign Claims Settlement Commission approving 200 Guam war claims so far, according to the Department of Justice's federal website. According to Congresswoman Madeline Berdallo's office, about 2,100 survivors filed war claims requests with the commission. Now, although some claims have been approved for payment, it doesn't necessarily mean the check's in the mail, according to Berdallo's chief of staff, John Calvo.
It would be the Department of Treasury who would have that answer as to when the checks will be issued.
Calvo said it appears the commission will work towards approving a large number of claims before forwarding those claims to the Treasury for payment. Nati Calvo, a survivor who was just 4 years old when she was forced to march to Menengun with her family, said she doesn't think survivors can wait much longer for their war reparations payments.
I don't think it's right. Why should we wait another year? I think they should give it right away.
The KUAM News review of the claims approved by the commission shows most of the claims approved have been for $10,000 payouts. Well, $10,000 is the compensation for forced march internment and or hiding to evade internment. Surviving spouses or children of anyone killed during the Japanese occupation of Guam may receive $25,000, while those who were raped or suffered severe personal injury may receive $15,000. The war claims payments will be paid with $6.4 million of Section 30 funds, which are taxes withheld from federal and military personnel who work on island. War claims coming after a hard-fought, decades-long battle, while many survivors of World War II have died while waiting in vain for war reparations.
The children are not compensated because they're already dead. And that's not right to me. I don't think it's right.
While Nancy Calvo said war reparations payments are needed by those who have applied for the process, she adds there are other ways Uncle Sam needs to make amends with the Chamorro people.
The only payment I want is all the federal land taking that they are taking from the Chamorros to be giving back to the Chamorros. They are not in need of it.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Thanks, Chris. Well, the airport provided a sneak peek Friday of its new International Arrivals Corridor, a key feature of its $110 million third-floor expansion project.
Management says it will not only improve the look of the terminal, it will also bring the airport in compliance with a long-standing TSA mandate. Nestor Lacanto reports.
1, 2, 3.
The airport held an event to unveil the first walkway. It will literally be the first thing international passengers see upon deplaning. It leads upstairs to a third-floor pod and then a bridge that takes them directly into the immigration hall. Airport Executive Manager Charles Atta.
It was a 16-year problem that we had to contend with regards to separating TSA screen and non-TSA screen passengers. So within months, we'll be able to showcase the third floor corridor, which separates the incoming and outcoming passengers.
The separation was mandated for permanent security enhancements following the 9/11 terrorist attacks. The airport used movable partitions as an interim solution to commingling, but they were generally considered eyesores. The sleek new arrivals corridor will be in stark contrast to them, and Atta says they will also mean more tenant revenue.
From an operational perspective, it'll provide more efficiency for the airport to maximize gate utilization, and also bring back concessions that were on both sides of the concourse that unfortunately went away through the years.
The arrivals corridor and other capital improvements are funded through a 2013 general revenue bond. Black Construction is the contractor. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lacanto.
Guam EPA, U.S. Coast Guard, and Unitech Environmental Guam took samples from rusty drums found outside a Quonset hut at the Nimitz Hill Lawnfit area. Wearing protective gear, they pulled liquefied and solidified tar-like and asphalt-like samples earlier this week. Tests will now be conducted and could take several weeks. Speaker Therese Terlai notified the agency 3 months ago about the site after receiving pictures. GIPA said there is no evidence to suggest the dump site is connected to Agent Orange.
Well, Chris, look who's on Guam, the Jets.
Though we're apart, you're in my heart. Give me one more chance to make it real.
Some nostalgic sounds that you can expect to hear as the sibling group is on Guam to perform. The Polynesian American group is known for their hits like You Got It All and Crush on You. They will take the stage this weekend alongside the husband and wife group New Shoes. Here's Moana Wolfgram with the Jets with more on the performance.
Yes, you can expect a return to the good old music of the 80s. Yeah. The best music, in my opinion, of the 80s. Yeah. And a lot of dancing, old school music, love songs. If you grew up in the 80s, and even if you didn't, you'd probably hear some of the music and be reminiscing along. So, yeah, you'll expect a lot of... we feel like Guam, this show here is going to be very emotional for us. We've made some really good friends.
Get those tickets now. The show is set for tomorrow at the UG Cavill Fieldhouse in Manila starting at 7 p.m.
I'll see you there. Local artist Mark Del Isola's latest exhibition, Pacific 3D, opens up today. Located in the Hyatt Regency Guam lobby, the exhibition features paintings based on 3D optical illusions inspired by elements of the Pacific.
I incorporate all of the Pacific colors, the colors of the reef, the sky, colors of our sky. You know, you watch the sunset, every day is a different range of color, you know, from magentas to violets, you know what I mean? And so I'm very keen to observe all of these color combinations and changes. And then I add the spectrum, which is pure sun refracted into the individual colors.
The Pacific 3D art exhibition runs till January 11th of next year. Make sure to check it out.
Well, we conclude our week-long series highlighting some of the candidates for this year's American Cancer Society's Real Men Wear Pink campaign. Here's Dr. Felix Cabrera.
Real Men Wear Pink, presented by American Cancer Society and Island Cancer Center. Meet Dr. Felix Cabrera.
I thought this is important to be an active participant in this fight. Us men were mostly on the sidelines in this fight, but we feel like we have a role, a very strong role of being the biggest cheerleaders through this all.
As Chief Medical Officer and Senior Vice President for Guam Regional Medical City, Dr. Cabrera says half the patients that come into his office are women.
That's the reality that we as us physicians, especially us male physicians, that we have to find it in ourselves some way to empathize with what women struggle with. And I can't think of any better way than to be actively involved in events like this.
As a physician, Dr. Cabrera has seen some very heartbreaking cases, but he believes that pink is powerful and empowering.
Not all of this is sad, and we use that sadness to really build us up and bring us up and move forward.
For the past 5 years, his mother, a breast cancer survivor, has been in remission.
Self-diagnosed 1 month before her mammogram was even due. She found the lump on her own and got it checked out, and sure enough, it ended up being cancer.
Cabrera says the key thing he wanted everyone to know is that you can fight this battle with all your might, and you can fight it here at home on Guam.
You can fight it surrounded by your family, because the reality is that a lot of these resources are now here, and I can't think of any better environment than to do this amongst the people that you love.
Being a Real Men Wear Pink candidate allows them to bring about significant awareness about better and more appropriate screening opportunities. He adds that while we talk about finding a cure, we have to take a step back and realize,
in one way of looking at it, there is a cure, okay? And that cure starts with prevention.
Real Men Wear Pink, presented by American Cancer Society and Island Cancer Center.
Sports is next. Keep it here.
I didn't plan to be a single mom. No one does. But here I am, mid-30s, divorced with 3 kids, just trying to make things work. With the rising cost of living on Guam, it gets harder for working families like mine to get by. I've heard some politicians say that the economy is good, but rent is higher, health insurance is too expensive, and our incomes have stayed the same. It's clear that the change they're talking about hasn't been for us, and we deserve better. I'm just so tired of all the empty promises. It's time to fight for a Guam that working families can afford. That's why I'm voting for Lulian Guerrero. Lou is a successful businesswoman